In this video, the second video, I'm going to attempt to describe and explain how the banks are set up in the Digico. We just created a file and we session structured it. And when we session structured it, and I did the session structure, I had defaulted and I had rebuilt the banks horizontally. What that means is that inputs 1 through 24 appear horizontal across the way. And if I switch to the second bank, this is the bank button down here, this switches only the first 12, the left side, to banks 20 to channels 25 to 36. If I want the other set to change, I got to change over here. There is a way to actually change all 24 at once, and that's you select the button, you hold it down. This is going 1 through 12, 1 through 24. This is going 25 through 36. Now this seems pretty cool to have all 24 faders across here, but it's actually kind of lame because when you rebuild banks horizontally, the main outputs, your matrices, your accents, all those actually don't appear on banks that you can access easily. They appear on other layers. And what is a layer? Let's close this setup. Go to Layout. We'll pull up the fader banks. And this is showing you that these banks, these 4 that you have on each side of the console, you actually get three sets of banks per left and right. And those sets are called layers. And we could switch to layer 2, and we would no longer see input channels as banks. We would see group outputs, matrix, talkbacks. The problem is there is no button on the console to switch layers. You can program one of your macros to do it, or you can program one of your macros to bring up a little soft button that does it. And I just find that inconvenient. And so way I actually want the setup is not sorted horizontally like I originally set up, but to set up vertically. Again, if I went to session structure, if I had defaulted to vertically, I would get another. What would have happened is all of my input channels would end up on the left side, and all of my masters would end up on the right side. And I found that to be a pretty effective workflow. But since I didn't set up that, we have to manually configure it, and you do so here in this fader banks page. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull from the right side of the console. I'm going to bring channels 13 and 14, and I'm going to hit the move button. And I'm going to move them here. And now I've got 1 through 12, 13 through 24, 25 through 36, and now I've got to take 37, 38, and move them here. This has now set me up. So here I've got 1 through 12, 13 through 24, 25 through 36, 40. All 40 inputs show up on the left side. I kind of dig that. Now let's set up the right side to be all my masters. And I think the obvious thing to do possibly first would be put my VCAs at the top layer. So I'm going to take the VCAs, they call them control groups, or CG, here on the Digico, and I'm going to move them to the top bank of the first layer. And the next thing I'm going to do is take my 12 aux sends, and I'm going to move them to the second bank. And then I'm going to take my 12 groups, which includes my master fader. And then the last thing I'm going to do is take my matrices and move those to the last bank. Now, I'm probably never going to touch the matrices, and I'm ignoring the talkback. I just don't need the talkback. So now I've got it set up so all my masters are over here on the left. I'm sorry, right. And it's stage left. And over here, all my channels are set up over here. And that's how I prefer to do. Now, you could have just done this, and I'm reiterating one more time, by going session structure and default to vertical banks. But you should know how to rearrange this, because I think every person who uses this console will probably have a different way they want to work and distribute. And you may want even a combination of this. And you may even want to use layers and move between layers. Maybe you have a sound check layer and a show layer. You know, different ways to go. Cool.